Hey there, Jaguars. Welcome to Jaguar Talk. The spring semester is right around the corner, and now is the time to register. With me today is Mr. Hector Cerda, Coordinator of Enrollment Services, to discuss the admission and registration process for students. Welcome, Hector, to Jaguar Talk.
Thank you.
The spring semester is about to begin, so it's important for students to start thinking about registering. When is the first day of classes?
The first day of classes for the spring semester is Tuesday, January 19th. We do have mini-semesters that fall within the full term. Those will have different starting dates and end dates. So it's important to verify their start date for their classes.
For students who haven't been with us before, what is the very first step for them to apply into the college?
The very first step to apply to STC is to submit their free application through applytexas.org.
So once you submit the application, how long does it take for it to go from Apply Texas to the college?
The application itself will take about 30 minutes for the student to complete. Once completed and submitted, it will take about 2 business days for us to process it.
For new students, what is some of the documentation that they have to submit?
Students will also have to submit their transcripts from their highest level of education. So that's either high school transcript or transcripts from previously attended colleges or universities, as long as their proof of their meningitis vaccination if they're under the age of 21, and their TSI scores and or SAT or SAT.
And it's important to mention that the ACT and SAT are not required. The one that's required is a TSI, but they can use it to exempt the TSI.
That's correct. Students can use their SAT and ACT scores if they meet the minimum to satisfy their TSI requirements.
If students need to test for the TSI to complete that requirement, where can they register for the test?
They will need to go to the STC Marketplace, where they can select which campus is near to them, and they can register for 1, 2, or all 3 sections of the TSI.
And now that I'm mentioning the TSI, I think it's a good idea to also mention the process behind it. So when students test for the TSI, what is the next step for them to do after that?
Once a student tests for TSI, their scores are uploaded into our system the same day, assuming they are testing in one of our testing centers. And once that is in, we recommend that they reach out to the admissions office to see if they have any pending requirements. But generally, that will be enough for us to clear their applications.
And for those who have been with us last semester, do they have to submit any sort of documentation or anything, or do they just go ahead and register?
Students that worked with us last semester do not have to submit any documentation, but we recommend that they check for any potential holds.
One of the most popular questions that we get is how to lift the hold. So can you tell us about that?
Yes, holds can be placed for different reasons. We usually recommend that you visit or contact the department that plays the hold. We have a list that will explain what the most common holds are and how to lift them.
The process is a little bit different for students who are international students from the ones who are traditional residents, correct?
Correct. And because it has additional requirements and it involves securing a student visa, we recommend that international students plan ahead and they contact our international student specialist as soon as possible.
And Hector, I was thinking that to end the session, I can ask you a couple of the most popular questions that students have for our call center. Is that okay with you?
Let's do it.
One of the most popular questions is, do we have to have your transcripts on file?
And the answer is yes. So submission of transcripts is part of our standard admissions requirement. So it is very important that we have official copies on file. Failure to submit official copies will result in holds that will prevent students from registering for future terms.
How can students submit their transcripts?
Transcripts can be submitted electronically, and we encourage them to do that. They can be submitted to our admissions email address. They can also be submitted in person as a hard copy as long as they are in a sealed envelope.
And if students aren't able to submit their documentation through email or through mail, the Student Services building is open for them to walk in, correct?
We encourage students to submit their documents electronically whenever is possible, but if they would prefer to submit them in person, our campus is open.
For students who have questions about their admission status or their registration status, who can they reach out to?
Students are welcome to contact us through the call center, our email address, or our new live chat feature.
And the chat feature is something new, so can you tell us where do students access it from?
The new live chat feature can be accessed through the general questions landing page, and it can also be accessed through the admissions website. During business hours, the live chat will provide them access to chat with one of our staff members and answer any questions they have. Outside of business hours, students can still post their questions, and we will get back to them via email.
Another very popular question is, how do I register for classes?
Yes, that is one of the most common questions that is asked. And we have put together a video that will walk you step by step on how to register for classes, starting with how to log in to JAGNet and how to access the registration page and how to make sure you register for the classes you want, and ends with being able to access and printing your schedule.
And my very last question for you is, when is the very last day for students to register for classes?
The last day to register for classes is the day before the semester begins, so that's going to be Monday, January 18th. However, that is Martin Luther King Day and our office will be closed. So we'll be holding extended hours from 10 to 2 on Saturday, January 16th. That is going to be the last opportunity to register in person. Online registration will be open through the 18th.
Well, thank you, Hector, for joining us today. Is there anything else that you want to share?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I'd like to encourage students to not wait any longer and go ahead and register today so they can have the schedule that better fits their needs.
Well, there you have it. If you have any questions about the admission or registration process, make sure to contact us to the email or phone number listed below. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, Jaguars, stay exceptional and keep on learning.